Welcome everybody to the Broken Wing Racing League. This is the GT3 Sprint Championship, Season 16, Round 4 here at Imola. I'd go for my best rendition of the actual name of the track, but not great. And I already tried it when my mic was muted, and no one is here to remind me that I might have been speaking. Anyway, I didn't say much, but here we are. We have a 60-minute formatted race, not a 45-minute race. It's going to be extended 15 minutes, which means the field changes will definitely be in play for some people, depending on how they are going to balance that out. That said, we'll go over to our first set of drivers here, and it looks like the named driver who is in the Pro Series leading hasn't set a time yet. That's Austin McGill. He's out there, though. Just no time on the board for him. Austin McGill is first so far in this ranking sheet. Peter Flanders in second. Jacob Simmons is in third. Followed by the Pro-Am Series with Prashant Jayaraman, who's actually leading over Jeff Koffold. But that one doesn't make any sense because, well, it's a drop week. Anyway, ooh, that's going to really play into it. So, Jeff Koffold's in second. Alex Zier is in third. In the AM class, Craig Reese. Okay, so the effects of round 2 are really shaping up. The Le Mans coaling, as it might be, it was referred to something else. I can't remember. The blip, the Le Mans blip, which is when a lot of drivers got disconnected from the server, and that really hampered things quite a bit. And so it's changing up the ranking sheet as well. So Craig Reese is in first over Jason Daly, who's in second. Seth Hansen's in third. And then we have Ryan Otis of 499 Racing is in first in the rookie class. He's fourth overall in the leaderboard for practice. We have 6 minutes 44 seconds left to go. Kevin Millard, 499 Racing, is in second, and Aaron Myers is in third with only one race on the board. That's pretty interesting. That said, going over to the team championship, we have Austin Squared Racing of Austin J. McGill and Jason Daly in first. Valhalla Racing is in second with Gage Hines, Jeff Koffold. Thunder Thighs Racing of Dylan Thomas, Jacob Simmons in third. 499 Racing, as I've already said, both the rookies are in fourth. Draft Punt Gold with Elliot Burton, Peter Flander in fifth. Savage Racing, Aiden Gortz and Richard Swedersky in sixth. Mid-Pack Mafia Motorsports of Angel Manila Soto and Forrest Holland in seventh. Team Juice of Joshua Jablonski and Seth Hansen in eighth. Bluth Company Racing of Chris Lambeth and Eric Koonsman in ninth. Texas Racing, Texas Racing team, Charlie Bass and Nolan Todd in 10th. No Longer Radio Controlled, Marshall Scary and Zach Peterson in 11th. Little Luck Nuts, Charles Weed and Christopher Chitterling. Rockstar Energy Racing of Darius Timms and Drew Stiles. Joshua Grasso and Noah Hoskinson return in the Gnarl Racing team in 14th. In 15th is Caffeine Global Motorsports of Craig Carroll and Steve McAllister. In G-Spec Racing of Colin Giddings in 16th. No additional teammate for him. 10 minutes, 18 seconds left in practice, and we're going to get underway with a qualifying session that should be pretty exciting. Not only that, we have 36 drivers on the grid for this race. It should be a very well-rounded grouping here. As it stands, there's only a few drivers that have gotten into the 139s. Trey Mistak is in second, and make no mistake, he will probably be starting from the back of the grid and doing a first-to-last challenge like always. So even though he's competitive on the timing sheets, it's only going to show up in the race because he will start squarely at the back, more than likely. I think he did qualify once a while back ago. Maybe it was like last season. But anyway, besides the point, 139s out of P1 through 3. After that, you have Ryan Otis, who's in the 140, .085. He's in fourth, and so from P4 to P15, everyone's in the 140s. Adam Tingle has that last spot with a 140.9. Kurt Moss is in 16th, and we have the 16 all the way down to 26 in the 141s, which means there's not a lot of drivers that are past that. From 27 to 33, we have each driver is going to be in the 142s or 143s of those left from that grouping. So a lot of close racing. A lot of drivers are going to be probably equal on pace when this race gets started after qualifying ends. So probably see a really good group throughout the track. It's just going to be a matter of can those 141s and 142s, or sorry, the 140s and the 141s kind of stick close together throughout the race. But I assume that's going to be the case. There's Jeff Koffold trying to make a move here on Chris Lambeth in practice. And he gets it done. But it's not over. Or is it? Looks good here. Also, just briefly, a lot of controversy. What happened at the last race at Road Atlanta. I wasn't particularly privy to it because, as you might be aware or not aware, I have the driver comms turned off, and for good reason. The first time I used, or not, it actually might have been the first time I ever, not the first time I ever commentated, but one of the initial races, we were at VIR, and a driver used a word that is a bannable offense on Twitch. And it didn't take long for me to swiftly change to no comm so I couldn't hear the argument that was brewing in Oak Tree. The very famous incident here at Broken Wing Racing League. And you know, it's on the iceberg. You're always welcome to join the Discord and check it out. We have a great iceberg, and someone can reminisce with you over the different things that have happened in this league as a result of just a casual league, I guess, of having some fun. Sometimes not so much fun, but you know, here nor there. While you're at it, with 1 minute 34 seconds left to go, we do have sponsors, by the way. You can see them rotating. You have Ardox, John Javecki Insurance, SimMotion, Get Good Racing is another one. And also go check out our merch store. We have an official merch website that you can click on in the links and get yourself a mug, coffee mug, or a t-shirt. I'm not sure if they're still selling the Jason's Chicken Shop, but you could get one of those for my fictional chicken shop, because my love of chickens and pickles is ever so much brewing. And actually, no, it's chicken sandwiches that I'm perceived to like, but I don't. I've only had like 4 in my life, and I've never liked a single one of them. Beyond that point, Kevin Millard's doing pretty fantastic on that last lap. It was a 143.3. It's an improvement off of his Christ. And there you have it, folks. I am not as with a lot of things there. That's that being one of them. Thank you, BG Smooth, for letting me know that I forgot to change my audio settings. Appreciate that one. Just a great shout out for doing that to me. Oh god, that didn't scare me at all. Whoa, Marshall Scar getting a little shaky there. By shaky, I mean fully. And we are back. It is going to be Jeff Koffold leading us on qualifying, followed by Lars Tyhouse, Marshall Scard, Peter Flander, Jacob Simmons. That's quite the grouping, by the way. Lars being in the mix there. I believe he's the AM class. Yeah, he is. He's got the AM class decals on. And so You got a pro-am like Jeff Koffold here, who's gonna show us what's up. He's pretty quick in practice. And we got some people rejoining, by the way. A lot of rookies are really sticking through this series so far. You know, season 16, round 4 here at Imola, and we have a good amount of rookies that have actually like kept up, which is kind of cool. I don't see that very often. A lot of these drivers are sticking with it. Got Felipe Nunez, Angel Bonella Soto, Andrew Frank, Darius Timms, Kevin Millard, Ryan Otis, Gui Oliveira, and we're gonna go on board with. Or are we going on board? We're not. He's gonna slot in behind Marshall Scari. We'll just go on board with Marshall, who's on a flyer. Bit bizarre. Maybe Jeff has some plans in store for how he's gonna set up his run. Maybe he's gonna give it 2 cold laps and then really push it for the next lap. If that strategy works out for him. But for now, we have Marshall Scari pushing through, and already we have an incident. And who is that they're just passing? Kyle Strauss. That was gonna wait a little bit. Might as well just park it and try again. Lap's invalid anyway. Fresh rubber down. Anyway, as I was saying, Brady Cohen, Coden, he's new. Kyle Strauss, he's been here before. He's had a couple races. Kurt Moss is also in that group. So, really cool to see the rookies all still sticking with it. We know a bunch of these rookies are going to become pros. In the Pro-Ams and some of the AMs, but there's a few pros that are out there. Ryan Otis being one of them. Might be a rookie right now, but he will slot in comfortably into that orange accent on the car. Through Ravasa we go, and what is the time for Marshall Scari here? Provisionally P1, as Peter Flanders in second, Gage Heinzen's in third. Jeff Koffold did set a time in fifth. Well, he's going to go down the order there. John Javecki in fourth, Dylan Thomas down in seventh. Elliott Burton crosses the line, and Joshua Jablonski now takes the fastest lap there with a 1:41.2. Won't be the quickest overall, but it's a pretty good first lap for him, as Kurt Moss has just gone into second with his time on the board. Dropping a lot of these other drivers down. Chris Lambeth down in its 12th, as Felipe Nunez is in 13th. Aiden Gwertz in 14th. Angel Bonella Soto in 11th at the moment. Brandon Burns goes into 10th. Now down in 11th is Gui Oliveira, has just gone into 10th. Forrest Holland is in 8th. He's not... Oh, where is he? Okay, he's in a weird spot. Seth Hansen's in 7th. Elliott Burton's in 6th still. Good match there. We have Trey Mistak, who's out there on an official lap, but I don't count that he's going to actually finish this one. We'll see. There's going to be his off track, if they counted that. Not sure on that one. Joshua Justice. No time for JJ. And he is... see what kind of lap he can put in here. Jacob Simmons, also no time on the board at the moment. Maybe he had an off track in the first run, because he's Brian Zaborowski goes into 11th. See where the improvements are across the line here. Marshall Scari's going through. And Jacob Simmons. Peter Flander now takes the top step there. Gage Heinz goes quicker overall. Jacob Simmons into 3rd. John Javecki improves into 6th. Dylan Thomas improves into 8th, as Elliott Burton improved into 5th. Joshua Jablonski now improves back into 2nd over Peter Flaner and Jacob Simmons. Ryan Otis down in 20th. Angel Bonella Soto in 19th. Richard Sweaterski in 18, or 19 now. Seth Hansen has just gone into 20th, improving his time on the board. Austin McGill improves into 13th, 14th, as Chris Lambeth has gone into 12th. Aiden Gwertz into 11th. Darius Timms into 16th. Zach Peterson into 18th. Ryan Otis now improves into 11th. Kevin Millard into 19th. Andrew Frank into 17th across the line there. Jake Daly into 26th. Felipe Nunez 27. Lars Highhouse 28. Stewart. Look. Ooh. Lucio? I don't know how to say that one. He's in the 32nd at the moment. Lucio. I think it's Lucio. You get the C-I-E... I mean, if I have to do phonics correctly, I'm going to guess it's Lucio. Anyway, Steve McAllister got into 32nd, just overtaking Stewart. Did I say Steve McAllister, or did I say Stewart I don't know. Oh my god. Rodrigo Theory's in 30... Whoa. Rodrigo Theory is in 32nd now, as we have that's Kyle Strauss there in the background. Get to remember Kyle there. Gage Heinz leading right now in first. John Javecki now improves into 4th position. Dylan Thomas improves into 14th at the moment. 7 minutes, 36 seconds left to go. I think everyone really is out there that I've said. Actually, no, I missed one. Adam Tingle here is in 19th, as Jake Daly has improved into 13th. Austin McGill is now into 3rd. Chris Lambeth into 12th, improved his time. Aiden Gwertz improved into 16th. Ryan Otis improves into 2nd. That time on the board, 0.014 separation there, and not to discredit Peter Flanner with a 0.040 difference as well. That is pretty close in the top step for fastest time. That is pretty impressive. As thought to be true, Ray Mistak is not really setting a time there. Rodrigo Theory improves into 27th here. Kyle Strauss, no time on the board just yet. This would be a push lap for him because the last lap was invalidated. Getting quite close to the margins there on the right, on his right. Or left, if you're thinking about it that way. Kyle Curtis hasn't set a time on the board as well. These two drivers are still trying to do their best. Peter Flanner now takes the top step away from Gage Heinz, and it's pretty good. It's a 10th faster. Gage Heinz now into 2nd, Ryan Otis into 3rd, Austin McGill. Can he improve? He just got overtaken by Joshua Jablonski for P4. Look at the toe that he's receiving from Seth Hansen. Is that going to be in the margins for Austin McGill? That wasn't even a push lap for him, actually. Recorded nothing on the board. Well, that's a good start to a lap if this is how he's going to work that out. Kurt Moss into 8th. Massive improvement for him. Aiden Gwertz improved into 19th. Angel Bonello Soto also improved into 20th. What we got here for Kyle Curtis, a cross line. Gui Oliveira improves into 28th at the moment. And Kyle Curtis with a 143.8. He improved. Well, that's his first time lap for us, and he went to P34. Kyle Strauss, Rodrigo Theory improves into 29th. Kyle Strauss make up a time on the board right here across the line for Kyle Strauss. It is a 145.8. It puts him on the board just behind Steve McAllister. Or sorry, just behind. And there you have it, Steve being in 37th. Any improvement here for Peter Flanner. Adam Tingle improves to P13. No improvement on that last lap. H. Heinz, no lap recorded. Jeff Koffold has just improved into 7th. But he just got overtaken by John Javecki, who took 7th away from him. Chris Chitterling in 9th. I don't think I said Chris's name yet. Mark Foley into 15th at the moment. He improves to 11th. From 15th to 11th for Mark Foley. Another driver, I don't think I said his name. Trying to get everybody. At least say it once. Like, Stewart. I might only say this guy's name once after this. Just because I'm not sure how to say that last name. Joshua Justice improves into 33rd. Stuart Lucio into 29th. Is an improvement for him. Richard Swedersky into 20th. Really have that phonetic spelling sheet. I wish it was updated for some of these drivers for sure, because I'm at a loss. Like Kevin R. Millard? That one I'm still not sure of. Whoa! It's like Dylan Thomas found himself going straight through turn 14, hopping back on into 15. Grassini, as that area is called. Ambarello. That's another one I can say. All the track corners and which ones I can say. Josh would be definitely a rookie. A couple drivers have already called it. Kevin Millard being one of them. He improved into 10th, but with some of these other drivers still out there, we might see some improvements. Matt Benson, Charles Whedon, Brady Cowden, Noah Hoskinson. See if they show up for this one. Felipe Nunez has just improved into 28th. Aiden Gord's improved into 20th over Richard Swedersky. And imagine that's going to be quite the battle there on track for both Richard and Aiden. And then Aiden has gotten rid of his anime waifu. It wasn't. This one's different. I remember these things. That's unfortunate. Joshua D across the line goes into 18th. 141.4. Quite the lap. Massive improvement from his first. Wait. His first. He's done 6 laps. There you go. Who knew? .140.8. He's got one more lap left in him, maybe. No improvements seem to be being made in the top 15 at the moment. It just seems like everyone found their quickest lap a couple laps ago, and yeah, and it doesn't even look like Peter's gonna continue this one. It looks like it's going to Gage. So it's a slowdown for Peter Flanner there. A nice in lap before he pits. Mark Foley improved into 10th, 140.7. Everyone's still in the 140s. That being P1 through P13, all in the 140s. Chris Chittering being the last one in 13th in the 140s, 140.9. And then you got your 141s of Aiden Gwertz leading in 14th, all the way down into 26. It's quite the spread there. And then you got your 142s onward till basically the end of the list, which is P27 down into P34, 35 to 38, just slightly outside the margins of 142s. But just slightly, and I say slightly by less than a second, but still not in the margins to say they are in the 140. It'll be very close racing. Age is going in the pits as well. That's interesting. Jacob Simmons is also in. Jeff here. 140.7. Not his quickest time. Marshall Scari improves. Was his quickest time? P17. I'm not sure if he needed to improve more than that. Andrew Frank in the pits. Chris Lambeth. 20th at the moment. cruising to 19th. In. Nunez improved. Maybe an improved his lap or his time. So he's in 27th at the moment. I'm not sure if that's the end of it there. But that is everybody. Everybody is done. Qualifying has ended. Got your grid here. Peter Flanner, P1, Gage Hines, P2, Joshua Jablonski, P3, Ryan Otis, P4, Austin McGill, P5, Jacob Simmons, P6, Elliot Byrne, P7, John Javecki, P8, Jeff Koppel, P9, Mark Foley, P10, Kurt Moss, P11, Kevin Millard, P12, Chris Cheerling, P13, Aiden Gortz, 14, Adam Tingle, 15, Richard Swiderski in 16, Marshall Scary, 17, Brandon Burns, 18, Chris Lambert, 19, Joshua D, 20, Jake Daly, 21, Forrest Holland, 22, Angel Bonello Soto at 23, Seth Hansen, 24, Andrew Frank, 25, Dylan Thomas, 26, Felipe B. Nunez in 27, Zach Peterson, 28, Darius Timms, 29, Lars Tyhouse, 30, Brian Zaborowski Jr. in 31, Rodrigo Theory in 32, Gui Oliveira in 33, Stuart Lucio in 34, Joshua Justice 35, Kyle Curtis 36, Steve McAllister 37, Kyle Strauss 38, and we will get back to that grid in just a second to get who's after 38 when we switch over to the start of this race for a 60 minutes here at Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E. Di Ino Ferrari, otherwise known as Imola, because that's a better way to say it if you're like me. And here's our grid. Take a brief moment to repopulate this. Matt Benson's P39, Trey Mistak's P40, Brady Odin is Ouden, 41, Charles Whedon, 42, and Noah Hoskinson, 43. 43 drivers on the grid. We'll see if those last bit of drivers do show up. They will be right here at the back of the pack behind Kyle Strauss. Trey Mistak will definitely be here, but will the rest of them? Brady Odin, he did have a time in practice, so maybe he just didn't want to qualify. That one will be up for debate. That is the limp cam, and it's just 4. All right, still nobody behind Kyle Strauss. We have Peter Flanner, who has not put in a lap just yet. And still waiting for all cars to grid. Peter Flanner still suspiciously not there. There he is. Kyle Strauss still at the back. No one behind him. So we have 38 drivers in total on the grid so far. Matt Benson got in. The Valhalla Motorsports drivers. Trey Mistak. We still are gridding, technically. And that is it. So we have 39 drivers out there. It's kind of bizarre that Trey would even miss the start there. So we don't have 4 drivers. If anything, we might see Trey starting from the pits, but he's not even registered, or he's not even clicked the button to be in the pit lane for the race start. So that one will be, there he is. Actually, finally done it. He's giving himself an even more daunting task of trying to get in. Bizarre. Well, race is about to start, and we'll get going. Can Gage Hines do anything off the start there? He's already jumped, and Peter Flanner has gotten perfectly away. Great start from him. It's going to go down here to Ryan Otis and Joshua Jablonski and Austin McGill, who are all battling here for third. Right now it's Ryan Otis who's gone up one over Joshua Jablonski, but can he hold on to it in this turn here? And through he goes. He's holding on, and they're going side by side. It looks like Austin McGill backed out on Jacob Simmons there, who's also improved. And these two have not backed out. It is still going on. And through goes Ryan Otis, keeping the spot. And great move off the start of this. Further back, you have Aiden, who's just slipped up there. And it's an improvement there for Adam Tingle, who's gone on to take 2 positions. And there goes a spin from Jacob Simmons. And that is not a place you want to be right now. There is Larry's Tie House, who hit him head on. I think that's what happened there. And there goes another driver. And what a unfortunate start of the race. Jacob Simmons there. Chris Lambeth has improved 4 positions, now up in 15th. Marshall Scary just ahead of him, up 3. Great movement in the midfield as they've all kind of improved here. H. Hines already has a 1.3 second gap here from Ryan Otis, so P1 and 2 are kind of running away from it. And that is very impressive. Off the opening laps, mind you. So that little squabble kind of hampered things down for these drivers to catch up to the leaders. And what a gap that's formed. 1.3 seconds on merit as these two pump in 142.5s and 142.7 with Ryan Otis at the 144.000. Yeah. That is quite something. Joshua Jablonski trying to make a move here on Ryan Otis. He's close enough. What can Chris Lambert do? He's got Marshall Scary just ahead of him. Same type of momentum. He's getting awfully close to the rear of Marshall Scary. That break. Further back, Kurt Moss is in the pits. Jacob Simmons is exiting the pits. Ars Tie House is just exiting. Kyle Strauss has just had an incident here. Spun. And that held up, I think, Steve McAllister there. Yeah, that's who that was. And they're back out. Seth Hansen had a spin. He's going to have to rejoin Aquaman Raleigh as well. Oof. Not ideal. E23 down into 35th, I think. Yeah, 35th. Big drop for him. Brandon Burns also battling out here. Up one spot off the start. Jake Daly on the outside and gets past Jake Daly. Here's Ravaza, and now it's going to improve. It says he only gained 1, so maybe that was the one that he was going for there. But he's got Marshall Scary now, as Chris Lambeth has definitely made the move past Richard Swiderski as well. That's quite something. Jeff Koffel trying to hold on to his position here. And Jake Daly retakes the spot. And these guys are battling out. Dylan Thomas is in the mix of that as well. He's P19. And the Thunder Thighs livery, that stripe across the top. And yeah, this group is pretty scrappy. Both Jake Daly and Brandon Burns had a bad exit there. And Brandon Burns is going to be on the victor of that, as Jake Daly now drops back, and Angel Bonello Soto is going to try to make a move here on Dylan Thomas. Does it sticks? Joshua D trying to reclaim his spots. He's down 3 from where he started, and he's got Forrest Holland just ahead of him. And it is pretty scrappy here in the midfield. Matt Benson up 9 positions into 30th at the moment. Stuart Lucio up into 31st with 3 positions gained. Trey Mistak is just behind, catching this group, and he is up 6 positions starting from the pits. Got Kyle Curtis just ahead of him. Over to Joshua Jablonski. Now, this is what's impressive. After a couple laps now, we find ourselves with the P1 through 4 all caught up. There was a 1.3 second gap from P2 to 3, and that is dropped down to 2/10, as all 4 drivers are, the leaders, I should say, are all pushing. And this is great work here. Jeff's battling it out here with Chris Chidling. He's down 1 spot, and now he's got Kevin Millard. He's trying to go down the inside line on Jeff, and he's got it done. I think it may be. God, that's a bad angle. I always forget. When we go here, there are no good angles at Imola. Oh, Adam Tingle going off there. They did collide, but that was definitely just a racing incident, if I had to call it anything, because it looked like they just were getting pretty scrappy, and they made contact. Adam Tingle not too broken up about that, I don't think, because he is still back out there in 14th. 1 spot gained as Chris Lambert has improved past him through that little incident. Better angle here. Let's try TV2. They track and battles better than the terrible cameraman on TV3. Got John Javecki here and Elliot Burton both battling. Only both have gained 1. 6th and 7th at the moment. Zach Peterson trying to make a move here on Lee Oliveira and made it and got that done before turn 2. And that was pretty clinical. Matt Benson up 10 spots. So is Trey Mistak. They're now 29th and 30th. I'd see these two scrap. We are getting pretty close. Austin McGill has joined the top 4 and is now really close. 2/10 separation from Joshua Jablonski. This is one of those moments. You have Peter Flanner, the pro, leading overall right now. Ryan Otis is in 3rd. He's leading over the rookies. Elliot Burton is in P6 with John Javecki just behind. That little sweat might be dripping slightly for Elliot Burton because the next driver behind is P2 in the Pro-Ams, Chris Chitterling, and he's not far behind. If you look at this, Chris Chitterling has a 1.2 second gap to these drivers, but there's another Pro-Am following just behind, 1.4 seconds back. That's Jeff Koffold. P1 through 4 are almost in full succession in the order in the overall leaderboard. As look at Jeff having to defend here against Kevin Millard, who's pretty hot on his heels, and that was the way a couple laps ago. There's Mark Foley just behind in 11th, down 1 from where he started, and I believe that would be Kevin Millard who got him jumping for the spot. But a good group here, P1 through 5, really holding that steady train that we see in the midfield as well. But what's extremely impressive is how well Ryan Otis is holding on to that P3. At the moment, the nearest rookie is in 10th, and that's Kevin Millard, his teammate. Beyond that, in 20th is Angel Bonello Soto, who's the next rookie. For the AM class, we got a bit of a better situation for that grouping. As far as if you're leading in the AM class, I should say, that's the way I would phrase it. Aiden Gwertz here is in 12th in the overall. He's got a half-second gap here to Chris Lambeth. But behind him is Adam Tingle. Adam Tingle's 1.1 seconds back, so he's going to want to keep this barrier that he has here. Oh, Jeff has just lost one. Kevin Millard. And Chris Chitterling is really hot on the heels of John Javecki. So that barrier that both drivers wanted, and John Javecki just went off and a long way around. Can he find the margins to pass? Very brave on the exit. Definitely got the power down, and I think it's enough, and it is enough, and he goes past John Javecki. Dylan Thomas on the inside, and he's got it down, and he's going to go ahead of Angel Bonello Soto, and Andrew Frank's going to also pick up the scraps of that mistake into the next corners as we go through, and it is down. Darius Timms, another driver, part of that little group that is formed here in the midfield, and he is just right there hot on the heels. He's 7 positions gained for himself. Can he make it 8? That looks like there might be a slight amount of damage there for Angel Bonello Soto, but maybe it's just part of the livery. No, there's definitely some damage on that right front. That might be hampering his pace at the moment. Further up, we have this. These drivers are still going at it. Aiden Gwertz is leading in 12th over Adam Tingle, who's in 14th. But that gap of 1 second is kind of a similar thing to Elliott Burton there, where he wants to keep that pretty secure. But I don't think it's going to be the same thing there, as Chris Chitterling has now caught Elliott Burton in the Pro-Ams. This is for the lead. They are 1 and 2 in class. Adam Tingle does have Richard Sweaterski in the AM class just behind him in 15th position. So you have a battle for the pros, 1 and 2, a battle for the Pro-Ams, 6 and 7 in the overall, and then you have a battle in the AM class, 12th and 14th, with only a Pro-Am separating those AM class drivers. There ain't no battle happening for the rookies at the moment. Ryan Otis is in 3rd, Kevin Millard's in 9th. They're also teammates. But yeah, here we have it. This might be one of the most exciting things out there on track, as well as this. These drivers, Jesus, can't even stay on that one. Which one's better? That's got to be this one. Sorry, folks, just clicking these cameras to see what better action I can get for you. A lap 8 of 36, by the way. Going to be not a normal, typical stretch of a race of 45 minutes. This is a 60-minute race. Points will matter more here. I think it's 1.5 times. No change in the order, mind you, since this race has started, from where Ryan Otis caught Joshua Jablonski right through turn 2. And we have just kept it like this from P1 through 2. Elliott Burton just got passed by Chris Chitterling. Let's watch that back. Dives down the inside line into turn 2. Gets it done. Gets it ahead. And there is the race for the lead of the Pro-Ams. Now, can he hold on to that lead for this entire 60-minute race? That is the real question. John Javecki could split these two and really make it more interesting, or for himself, I guess, because that is what you don't want to happen. You don't want to have the Pro-Ams be split, but it would be beneficial to Chris Chitterling if that did indeed happen. It would back his chances up. Let's go further in the back here. We have Seth Hansen and Stuart. God. Gotta change that. And Stuart, wait, what? Oh, sorry. Seth Hansen trying to hold on to P31 and Stuart Lucio. He tried to make that move on the outside. It didn't work. Oh, thank you, Canada? Say Canada? Thank you for the follow. Oh, this kind of fizzled out slightly, but there we go. Trey Mistak up 12 positions. Matt Benson down 9. So that 10 he gained. Lost one. Woof. There's a spin from Rodrigo Theory, and I think Marshall Scari is also involved in that. Or no, Zach Peterson. Marshall Scari's teammate, I believe. Same livery type. But back out there. Seth Hansen gonna have a go here for P30. Got the inside line. Has to keep a hold of this into turn 2. I believe he's going to. And that kind of secures his spot there. Jacob Simmons down 32 positions. He's got Kyle Strauss just ahead of him. 110 separation. Unfortunate, but P38, he's fighting back to just claw back anything as he can. He's P8 right now in the pro class standing, so it's gonna, I think, get away with this one in terms of points go, but it's gonna be maybe a race to forget for himself at the moment. Is Kyle Strauss giving a wide berth, and they go side by side for a second, and he goes through. Matt Benson up 11 spots into 28th, as Gui Oliveira just ahead of him. Can he make a move and make that 11 positions gain? Oh yeah, those two drivers just went off, and both. Oh, now can he make it 12? Big Mistakes now up 14, and a group that we haven't seen in a while. But Joshua D hasn't been able to improve. I think he was down 3 from last time I was looking at this group, but he's at the back, and he's got the same pace as them. I think he's just got to find a little bit more and catch up to Felipe Nunez. 6'10" differential there. A moment from Felipe Nunez, and then Darius Timms just kind of keeping ahead. He's got a better gap. That's almost a full second, 9/10 from Felipe Nunez behind him. 2/10 separation here. Is he going to jump down to the inside? No, it looked like he was for a second. Stays just behind Angel Bonello Soto. And Matt Benson does make the move. There goes 12 for him down into turn 2. We'll see that move all the time. Now a really big one has formed. Look at this. John Javecki in P7 has P8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. All in a group. Look at that. That is quite the long snake that is formed. That is quite something. Marshall Scari in 15th. Holding on. He's ahead of this little group. Brandon Burns up 2 in 16th. Back over to this little, I'd say it's a big one. It's a big snake. Chris Chitterling's up quite a bit from John Javecki. But look at this group. That is impressive. You can't even say this is the midfield. This is the top. We got P7 through 14 all just cruising along with each other. And then you have other groups that have also formed. Darius Timms and Angel Bonello Soto are going to go banging doors there, side by side into turn 2. And Angel... Whoa! And it almost looked like that was going to be the scenario that was going to play out, as they were very scrappy going into 2. And that kept going. Yeah, just before they got to 3. No. Joel Soto down 1. And he's got a black flag as well. Trey Mistack is just past Forrest Holland, but not quite just yet. Forrest Holland's going to make this slightly. Oh, he was just going to. Unfortunate. Couldn't go side by side there. As they move into Aquaman and Raleigh, it's not going to matter anymore. But there through goes Trey Mistack into P25 with 15 positions gained. And Richard Sweaterstein. Oh. He's missing his wing. Great first edition that I've seen so far of the Broken Wing Racing League. Driver of the race. Fortunate for Richard. That joke is not at his expense. Got close pack racing everywhere. Peter Flanner has not shaken any of these drivers. It is P1 through 5, through and through. With maybe the inkling to get ahead, H. Heinz considers the thought but pulls back in, and they are going to continue this little dance. One makes me wonder if they're going to try different pit stop strategy to get the upper hand, or will they just both the other drivers in the AM class, one was leading, which was Adam Tingle over Aiden Gortz. They're second and third. See what happens there. I spoke and it was put into the headlines there as Austin McGill has made a move on Joshua Jablonski side by side before we even got to the corner. And through he goes and is holding on to it for now. And it looks like Joshua Jablonski wants to retake that. And that is going to be a big no for now. Yep, I think that's it. And you're saying I'm muted? I haven't been muted. I haven't said anything. Great trick though. I was. Got some drivers going in the pits now. What the heck? That is a lot of debris. Alright, so we got drivers putting that are lifted up. I think they're changing tires as well. Now, where is Chris Chitterling going to come out here? Looking good. Elliot Burton has not pit just yet. Right now, it's just all over the board. I'm not even sure who to click because everyone's going up and down. Yeah, we have drivers exiting. Chris Lambeth, who pit on lap 14. Gonna be gaining some. He's actually up one spot from where he started. He was up, I think, 5 or 6. Well, but right now, it's doing fairly well, I would say. All things considered, after that spin. Trey Mistack hit on lap 16. He now has Dylan Thomas in his sights for P19. 20 spots there. Are you going to make a move here? Nope. Rutoza. And that was pretty clinical. And Kevin Millard has just spun. Oh no. How? Oh, and we've seen spins there. That's a bad one. That's a drop. Who's it gonna go to? Oh, pit lane. Gage Hines gets it on the exit. So P1 and 2 have swapped. Peter Flanner now into second as Joshua Jablonski retakes third from Ryan Otis. Now we're back at where we started, sort of, from where this race started, and it is a change in the order. Austin McGill still 5th, Chris Chitterling in 6th over John Javecki, Elliot Burton, and Mark Foley. And there is a difference in pit strategy, and it is unfolded. Elliot Burton down 1 from where he started. Mark Foley up 1 from where he started. I think Mark might be the one leading out on this slightly. Austin McGill has Ryan Otis in sights. Not someone he really needs to be battling with, but in the overall, it still matters. And that's now P1 through 4 to the pros, with Ryan Otis in 5th, the rookie. Chris Chitterling, the Pro-Am, in 6th. That's quite something. And any other shakeups here? There's Zach Peterson making a move here in Gui Oliveira, and he's gotten that done through Tosa. And some new groups have formed that weren't previously established. All things considered, Chris Lambeth, actually not ideal. Now back at 6 positions down. I think that's just based on when all the other drivers went out through the pit cycles. It looked like he gained a lot, but in all actuality he didn't, after everything's said and done. And here at lap 15. And it looks like that's about it. Yeah, we've only had we've had 2 collisions. The one we saw live, sort of live, with the replay on that one, of Kevin Millard, and then Steve McAllister also had one. That's kind of a note, like a nothing burger there. I think he's gonna be fine. He's already even back out there. Now, oh, he's now blue flagged. Darius Timms is gonna get on by. Let's take a look back here at the top of the board as we have blue flags for some of these drivers as they're moving out of the way. Kyle Curtis being one of them that was there in the background. Gage Hines is leading over Peter Flanner by 1.1 seconds. A pretty solid performance for Gage here. Now basically the second half of this, after the pit stops. Adam Tingle in the AM class retakes his spot. Aiden Gwertz is behind him. That's a 1.3 second gap. And just gonna pull this back slightly as Jeff Koffel had made the move into turn 2, as we've seen a lot of drivers do throughout this race, and pretty good work for him. Mark Foley now back into P10, and Jeff Koffel. Basically this changed is where they qualified. And that's it. Nothing gained, nothing lost for these 2 drivers as they push on through. And Zach Pearson holding his spot against Seth Hansen. Rodrigo Theory up 6 positions from where he started. Behind Gui Oliveira, who's just ahead of him. But a little mini pack that's formed. Another one back out there's Marshall Scari in 15th. Jake Daly in the middle there in the Mercedes and Ferrari of Brandon Burns in the Alpine. And Aiden Gwertz in 12th. Got a bit of a gap though to Adam Tingle, who's battling for the AM class win. It's kind of cool to note that it'd be nice to say the top 10, but that's not the case. It's the top 11. Mark Foley is in the pits. At a pit lane 2, pit lane 1. Oh, he's not on either one of them. That's a bizarre one. But that is down the order he goes. Well, there you have it. Thanks, Mark. You gave us something that I didn't know we needed. In the top 10, we have each class of driver. We have P1, Gage Hines, who's a pro. P5 of Ryan Otis, who is a rookie. P6 of Chris Chitterling, who's a pro-am. And P10 of Adam Tingle in the AM class. That is, if this ends that way, That's going to be a mighty impressive feat for the AM class driver to really say that they stood with the other drivers of the different classes and finished ahead of a lot of them. Always think about that one after you know you've won this and looked at the different standings there, as Mark Foley is going to try to make a move here through Aqua Minerale on Felipe Nunez. And gets it done. Now we'll take a look at our biggest mover and shaker just briefly. He is in no man's land. Trey Mistack with a 3.9 second gap to Marshall Scari in a 6.4 to Dylan Thomas, who's in 16th. Not his biggest improvement, I'll say. He's moved further. But overall impressive. Trey Mistack in 15th. If these drivers keep battling it out here, we might be able to see Trey Mistack join them. And all of them are really, really close. And by close enough for Jake Daly to make a move there at Aiden Wirtz and take the take P2 away from Aiden Wirtz there. He's done it. The battle isn't on just yet. 1.3 second gap here for Jeff Koffold and Elliot Burton. But this battle is for P2 in the Pro-Ams. They are 8 and 9 in the overall. 2 and 3 in class. All right, folks, just a quick yawn. Replay that real quick as Adam Tingle gets gets overtaken there, but before, like, in the braking zone, definitely an oddity because just kind of flew right past him. Look at that. That was a 4.3 second gap, mind you, just a couple laps ago. And Aiden Wirtz is letting Trey Mistack by. I think that's the right word I'm using there, letting. Because he did not fight that at all. He pulled to the side even. Not sure what's going on here for Aiden. Maybe a gyro cam. Everything looks fine. But he's losing pace immediately. He's already 1.5 seconds back. I would love to know what was going on here. But he is losing a significant amount of pace. Does he just not have did he not add fuel? I guess we'll get a determination here if we get him to go in the pits. He's not going in the pits. I am not understanding of what just happened there. Another update. While we're on lap 25 of 36, things you don't want to happen in a race that do end up happening is a black flag. And there's been quite a number of black flags, meatballs, but none that were controversial because of where the class position of the driver was. It just it wasn't going to hurt their race at all. This one, however, and why I'm still on Chris Chitterling, he's got a black flag. And he's going to have to serve before this race ends. And who's that behind him as he's leading the Pro-Ams? Elliott Burton and Jeff Koffold have gotten to the rear of John Javecki. And now these two drivers who are in second and third are now going to inherit first and second and also battle for the Pro-Am win. I don't know if either driver knows this at the moment. Elliott Burton and Jeff are fighting for P1 and 2. There goes Chris Chitterling into the pits. He was 6th on merit, and now he's going to drop down the order. We'll see how many he ends up losing. Kyle Curtis is in the pits as well, I guess. And Brandon Burns goes by. Jake Daly's going to go by. We got Marshall Scarry. Trey Mistack is in the pits himself. I'm not sure what that's about, but he did not need to pit at all. He's going to lose a bunch. Darius Timms is going to go by. Joshua D. Is this it? Richard Swiderski. Trey Mistack is actually pitting fully. And Chris Chitterling is back out in 14th. That is unfortunate. One could say the least. Brandon Burns has now inherited P3. He's now in 9th. Adam Tingle still holding that factor into play. Jake Daly, the battle for the Pro-Am. The battle for the Pro-Am, and AM class is all on the line as we have 10 laps left to go, and Adam Tingle is leading over Jake Daly, the AM class. Already told you about the Pro-Ams here. And Peter Flanner is still 8/10 away from Gage Hines to put the screws to him for the rest of this race. These two know what's slightly up. They're moving. Austin McGill improved one spot and has now kept that from Ryan Otis earlier after the pit stops when he took it into turn 2, I believe. Now, I hope Jeff knows that he has got a chance to win the Pro-Am class here, the Purple Pams, as I call them. It's not done. Marshall Scarry, he wants to join this fight. Pro-Am driver watching 2 AM class drivers ahead of him scrap for P10. Jake Daly down the inside of turn 2, but he's gotten a little wide, and he's kept it in front of Adam Tingle. And Marshall Scarry was trying to make a move and capitalize on that mistake, and it was close, but did not work out for him. And Jake Daly now has taken the AM class lead. Take a look further back here. What happened here? We have Trey Mistack, who hit on lap 25. He's up 19 positions, but he's in 21st, and yeah, so he lost 6 positions from pitting. Not entirely sure what happened for this driver. Chris Chitterling, he's got a chance to get Aiden Gwertz here. He's down 1 from where he started. He could retake his, at least where he qualified. Right now he's 5th in class. Oh, Matt Benson got a little love tap there from Trey Mistack. Came out 27th. Darius Timms. Oof. A little bit of a whoopsie daisy. He can bring that back out there though. Gotta wait for some cars. Oh, Strauss. Oh. This driver has had some rough breaks, race after race. And that one might be it for him. Let's do it. Lucio gaining a spot there. He's now up 5. Matt Benson still up 13 technically. He's got a little bit ways to go there. Still just Connor. Thank you for the 2-month prime. The league thanks you for it. More importantly, our fearless leaders, Craig Carroll and Noah Hoskinson. They thank you the most. And that's a bummer. And this is one of those moments that you just kind of think about, and that's not ideal. Aiden Gwertz has gotten a black flag. He was 3rd in the AM class running, and now he's going to drop down as Richard Sweaterski is not far behind him. How's Forrest and Brandon doing? Forrest Holland. Brandon Burns is in 9th at the moment. He's got a pretty good race for himself. He's in no man's land, which is kind of where you want to be right now. This many laps remaining. He's up 9 spots. Not too bad, not too shabby. So he's going into pits now. That's going to be unfortunate. Richard Sweaterski also in the pits. So maybe he loses nothing. And Aiden Gwertz is already back out. And did he lose anything? Aiden is still 3rd in the championship in class. And when you talked about Forrest Holland, he's just behind in 20th. But in class, he is 4th with Zach Peterson in 5th just behind him. He's got a little bit worse scenario here. He's got to worry about Zach Peterson, who could take that spot from him. That is, we're seeing some very bizarre pit strategies. People are re-pitting for some reason. And Jeff is... The AM class 1 and 2 are no longer really battling it out here. A 2.2 second gap. John Javecki, or is it Ellie? More importantly, Ellie Burton's found the rear of John Javecki, so he's got a bit of a tow. That's going to help his chances out there on throughout the straights. But Peter Flanner now within a shot. Austin McGill got one done on Joshua Jablonski. And look at that. Stuart Lucio giving them a wide berth so they could pass. Felipe Nunez now has a black flag himself and is going in the pits to serve that one. Not to mention, we've had a lot of black flags. It's just earlier on in the race when and I would say this wasn't enough to warrant saying that these things were happening. Austin McGill, who's leading the Pro Championship, has 2 pro drivers ahead of him. He's really stepped it up. Didn't do that much practicing either. Adam Tingle has now just gotten passed by Marshall Scari. It's now our top... Oh no, sorry. Dick Daly's leading. So our P1 through... Sorry, our first in class of all classes is in the top 10 at the moment. Gage Hind in the Pro-Am of Elliot Burton in 7th. The AM class of Jake Daly in 10th. And then Ryan Otis in the rookie class is in 5th. That is a mighty impressive feat. I think we've had this happen before, but like in the top 15 maybe it was. Maybe I think I was talking about something like that, but my berth there. Now with 5 laps left to go. And Peter Flanner get past Gage Hines, or is it going to be Austin McGill making this move instead? Brief replay here. We have Stuart Lucio spun on his own, and Kyle Curtis through Aqua Minerale. Yep. Little block up there. Joshua Jablonski is what happened. That is why I don't think that's why Austin McGill's ahead. Ryan Otis and Joshua Jablonski just boop. That was enough. It was Austin McGill though for the pass on Ryan Otis was still back there. Shifts to the inside and gets on past Joshua Jablonski. And through he goes. And so then it was going to be later in that lap when Ryan Otis. Joshua Jablonski's still actually ahead of Ryan Otis. But they did make contact. See if Ryan Otis, if this is clean. It is clean. And through goes Ryan Otis on Joshua Jablonski for fourth. And with 5 laps left to go, I'm gonna give you the full honesty is that pack racing that we saw for the first half of this race isn't really happening at the moment. I'll say most people are in no man's land with some exceptions. Brief thought back to Jacob Simmons, who's kind of on a great recovery. He's in P23. He spun off the opening lap. His teammate Dylan Thomas is just behind him. He still can claw a couple more spots back here with 5 laps left to go. He got Seth Hansen 7/10 ahead of him. He might be able to get that one done. But it's just a forecast of what things have happened. Kurt Moss also spun, and he's trying to get that recovery in. Not so bad for himself. Kevin R. Millard's still out there, and he hasn't been able to do much with it. It was a pretty big one. He had a toe. Not on the lead lap anymore. Yeah, it's just gonna be rough. And Felipe Nunez went ahead of Aiden Gortz there. Beyond that, Trey Misek up 23, gained a couple back. And he's got Andrew Frank just ahead of him. That might be the last one he might be able to get. So as it stands, just going through it, P1 through 3 is our pro classification right now. Ryan, with the Pro-Ams, Jake Daly and Brandon Burns is in the pits with 4 laps to go. Oh no. And Brandon Burns, yep, didn't have enough fuel. He's back out there. Marshall Scari's also back out there. Mark Foley gaining a spot in P13. Yeah, something happened to him as well because he's got a lot more. Maybe a spin. Spoke too soon. Could have more positions gained. He's now up 25. Trey Misek is in 15th, and he's got 14th just ahead of him. Back to the classification with 4 laps left to go and how it's kind of shaping up. Elliott Burns still leads the Pro-Ams. Jeff Koffold is in 2nd. Chris Chittling is in 3rd. Followed by the AM class of Jake Daly in 1st. Adam Tingle in 2nd, and Forrest Holland in 3rd for the AM class group. And then the rookies, it's Ryan Otis who's in 4th, Joshua D who's in 12th, and Andrew Frank who's in 16th. John Javecki is in the pits. We are going to get another shakeup in the order. Elliott Burton goes through. Jeff goes through. 3.5 seconds difference for these two. I don't think that battle's happening for the Pro-Ams. And, I mean, comfortable enough for Elliott Burton here. He's only gained 1 from qualifying, but P6 is a great way to end leading the Pro-Ams. John Javecki back out there in 11th. That is going to be rough. Brandon Burns, Trey Mistack. 2 laps left to go. Looks like Trey's going to make that move. And has it done before they even get to the corner. Another rough one here. Zach Peterson has a black flag. Kurt Moss is in the pit, so I think we have a lot of people who have not quite figured it out. And look at that. Aiden going into the pits means Forrest Holland, who's in 18th, has now taken P3 in the AM class. Big split. Jake Daly's 8th and Adam Teagle's 17th. The AM class. That grouping just changed significantly. 2 laps left to go. Here's Austin McGill had to go into the pits. We really had people that didn't fuel a correct amount. And that is just a travesty. Is Jake Daly's also in the pits? Where is Adam Tingle? What is happening? The lead for the AM class is now going to change hands. Andrew Frank is in. That is the white flag. And Jake Daly's out before, so it's all good. That is just something else. Gage Heinz is leading over Peter Flanner, and I think this is going to be it. And that is the checkered flag, and Gage is going to win the 60-minute race here at Imola for round 4. Peter Flanner in 2nd. Ryan Otis is going to cross the line into 3rd. Joshua Jablonski into 4th. Elliot Burton wins for the Pro-Ams in 5th. Jeff is in 6th. Austin McGill in 7th. Chris Chitterling is going to be 8th. No, Austin McGill takes 6th. Jeff Koffold finished in 6th. Austin McGill in 7th. Chris Chitterling in 8th. John Javecki in 9. Got a big gaps here, folks. 10 is Joshua D. Mark Foley in 11. Trey Mistack in 12. Brandon Burns 13. Jake Daly wins the AM class in 14. Ryan Otis did finish 3rd in the rookies, or 1st in the rookies. 3rd overall. Brandon Burns in 13. Jake Daly 14. Marshall Scary 15. Adam Tinkle in 16. Forrest Holland in 17. Matt Benson 18. Across the line he will go. Dylan Thomas in 20 over Rodrigo Theory, who's in P19 to Dylan Thomas, Rodrigo Theory in 20. What? Dylan, not 19 to Tom. Yeah, Andrew Frank 21. Jacob Simmons has a black flag across the line, so he'll get shifted through the order here. He's in P22 at the moment, but Darius Timms in 23, Richard Swedersky 24, and then Seth Hansen, last driver across, 25. Take this over here. Gage, thank you for joining me. Congratulations on that win. That must have felt pretty good considering you got it throughout the pit strategy there. You just inched ahead exiting the pits. How'd that feel?
Oh, I thought he got the jump on me, but yeah, no, I guess I had maybe a little bit better traction coming out of the pit, but it felt pretty good, man. It was a fuel save throughout the entire race, so it was fun.
Well, yeah, congrats. In that first half of the race, were you just kind of setting the pace, or were you just letting Elliot? not Elliot. Sorry, his teammate Peter Flanders set the pace there, and because there's five of you all in a group, and you just kind of stayed with it. You didn't try to make any moves. I saw you peek a couple times, but was that kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, whenever I would peek around, I was just getting out of the draft, try to give him a little space. But we were all trying to fuel save. We were pretty far off pace, with fuel saving, but we were separating from I think it was fourth or fifth place, pretty good. So,
Me.
but yeah,
Yeah, I mean it was yeah, it was a great one. I mean, congratulations. I mean, you held Peter Flanner up there, and even towards the end, or even past that, you had a bit of a gap, and then it kind of came back into its own right. But I mean, what a
yeah.
fantastic race for yourself, right there. So thanks for you know, thanks for joining me, and also congratulations again because that was pretty clinical. I mean, the way you guys were driving that first half really made it seem like you were going to make your actual move in the pit stops, and it was down to the finest of margins, you versus Peter there. So I mean, again, congrats for doing what you did.
Sweet. Thank you, man. Shout out to the Tifosi and all the guys out there running the Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for joining me.
Uh-huh.
All right, Elliot Burton, your second pro am win. Congratulations. Kind of a bummer there for Chris Schitterling. Gave you that gift a little bit. Um, how was that? I mean, you only were able to improve one position off of where you qualified, but I mean, overall, you had a lot happening around you. Was it pretty stressful and chaotic, or did you kind of have it dialed in?
But we realized pretty early it was going to be a fuel save. So it was, I don't know, fuel saving is stressful, but like the driving itself is pretty chill because you're just lifting a lot and you don't really have to worry too much about incidents because you're taking things a lot easier. So that part was nice. But I just dropped completely off the end of the front pack because I just couldn't maintain that pace and fuel save. So it took me a while to get in the groove.
I mean, it you had Jeff Koffold behind you. For a little bit, it looked like he was trying to make a move, and then he kind of dropped back a couple seconds. So, were you worried at that moment when he was really like 2/10 away from you for a little bit, and then did you get that sigh of relief when he just kind of like dialed it back? I think he was eventually like 2, 3 seconds back on you.
Yeah, no, I was worried about him the whole time. I mean, I when he got close, I could tell that he was also saving, so I knew I had to save fuel and make it work. But I was trying to save a little bit extra so I could push and try to build up a gap at one point. So it kind of worked out the way I wanted to make it work in my head.
Well, I mean, it definitely did work, and congratulations, a pro am win. I'm not sure how many you've had, but I think I've seen you win a couple of the pro ones as well.
Thank you. It's been tough. That a couple of unfortunate incidents here and there, but yeah, this was a surprise to have face here and make that work. So yeah, happy.
Yep. I mean, incredible to see you. I mean, you had the pace over Jeff, who was, also giving it his best. And yeah, again, congratulations, Elliot. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Jason Daly, thank you for joining me. What happened with your pit stop? Why did you go back in? You didn't have enough fuel for the end?
Uh, I panicked because the white flag didn't show up until just before the pit lane, and so I was just like, all right, I have to go in. And then I was considering just like going right by, but I decided like I might have burned too much fuel in the pit lane, so I just got a splash, and yeah, I probably lost, I don't know, 3 or so spots because of that, but you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm not mad about it.
I mean, I don't know if you were able to just determine whether or not you were leading the AM class, but that's got to feel like a lot of pressure and worry that you're going to get passed. I was looking at your rival, who was in that groove. It was Adam Tingle, and he ended up not being able to get you. He was that far off, I guess, pace wise, throughout the race, where you had enough buffer to get that done and get back out. So, I mean, kind of a pucker moment, but you made it happen. You were battling some real strong drivers, so you held your own, and it was kind of unfortunate because if you didn't splash for the end, it would have been a P1 in class for everybody from P1 to P10 technically. So each class would have been inside the top 10. You still in the top 15, which still is pretty impressive in its own right.
Yeah, I probably screamed a little bit. I felt confident I would still be ahead of Adam, given he was, far ahead, but he wasn't drafting behind anyone for most of the race, and then he even let me by. I kind of passed him messily, but he let me by because I know he was trying to fuel save. So I was still, I was worried about it, of course, but ultimately still had some distance on him when I got out of the pit lane.
Yeah, and it worked, and it worked in your favor. I mean, it was still like I was flabbergasted. I'm sure you'll see that when I was commentating on that. A lot of people ended up splashing and dashing towards that last set of laps there, and it was yeah, it was kind of something impressive to see that you were able to still keep it into P1. Shame what happened to Aiden there. I'm not sure if I forget if it was a spin or something, but he was leading for a little bit, and then Adam Tingle was leading for a little bit, but then you passed Adam in your own right, which, I mean, great job. It was a great move.
Yeah, I had a pretty messy qualifying. I should have put more fuel in, but slow and steady. And yeah, I'm happy to secure another one.
Yeah, well, congratulations again and taking that AM class win, and let's see what happens in the championship. I hope to see you battling up there for the top steps.
For sure. Have a good night,
Yep,
Jason. Bye.
thanks. That's it, folks. Thank you for joining me. And the drivers that I didn't mention um, was, I think, going to be after Jacob Simmons did end up finishing. He did finish, but he had that black flag. So briefly, it was Jacob Simmons went to 25th after 22nd. So that improved Darius Sims up to 22nd, Richard Swidisky to 23rd, Seth Hansen to 24th. Um, Drivers that still were in it, Zach Peterson into 31st, Joshua Justice in the 32nd, Stuart Lucio in the 33, Kyle Curtis 34, Lars Tiles 35, Kyle Strauss 36, Steve McAllister 37, Angel Bonello Soto 38, Chris Lambert 39, Brian Zaborowski Jr. in 40. Those were the last drivers that quit, retired, as you would say. But that's it. That's how it all shaped up. Thank you for joining me, and as always, we have believe we have the let me check. We have the Falcon series that's going to be on Tuesday, followed by the Arca Oval series on Wednesday, the V's and Rays on Thursday, and Formula 4 on Friday. And as always, we'll be back on Sundays. Thank you for joining me, everybody, and have a good night.